Tyler would all be evaluated Monday? I'm sure obviously you also have to see them on the practice field today, but any update on those three?
Antonio's still kind of a week or two away. He's still a little bit further away. Don't anticipating him doing much in practice. Foley is back. He had a nice workout on Monday and feels good, and we'll get him incorporated back in practice. Your third one?
Tyler Lacey.
Tyler's another one. We're gonna get him back out there and see where he's at, and just sort of monitor him through the first half of practice.
When you're going against a rookie quarterback, how much do you go back to the college tape to try and get a feel of who he is as a player?
You definitely go back and watch it, just to see who he is and how he operates, and and then you go back and watch, his preseason tape, but then you go back and watch, some of the Philly stuff, what they did with Jalen. Maybe even go back and watch a little bit of Daniel Jones, a little bit, because some of their coaches have worked with him, and and just see how these different QB runs, can affect the game. And go ahead.
Athletically, how difficult is it to prepare for a guy like Anthony?
I mean, it's tough. It's tough. These are, you think of him, you think of Cam Newton. These are big, physical, strong quarterbacks that can also throw the football, and they're athletic. And it is a challenge. It's a quarterback who can, when you watch the tape, he can break arm tackles, and then he can run for 15, 20, 30 yards and beat you with his legs. So, we got to stay disciplined, obviously, defensively. We got to be a good tackling football team, against guys like this.
What about Tyler Shapley? Is he cleared for contact?
Yes, yes.
So we talked last year about how challenging it is to come up with a weekly motivation to keep the guys maybe on edge. Is it more challenging when you go from maybe being the hunter to the hunted? Or is it
I think that's more for you guys to talk about it. We stay focused on the moment. We stay focused on ourselves. We prepare, like we do every single week and every single day. And that's what we have to do. We can't worry about what's going on the outside of the building and, let the fans and the media talk about that. We just got to prepare today. You got to go win today on a Wednesday. And that's how you, get your team ready to go.
Doug, can you reflect upon the captains that were chosen and announced yesterday and the selections for each team?
Yeah, my philosophy is I let the team, let the team speak, and I stay out of it, and I want to see who they select as the leaders, the men on the football team that they can that they trust and that want to represent the team as captain. So obviously Trevor, gets a lot of votes every year. He and actually Foye are two of the top vote getters, and Brandon's just a veteran guy who with a lot of experience. I believe this is his fifth year in his career to be a captain, and just again a great powerful voice on the team. And then you add Roy on defense, kind of new this year, which I'm excited for Roy. He's taken a big. We've talked a lot about him and his leadership on the team, and this reflects that. And I'm excited for him, and I think Dewey on special teams. Just goes without saying he's the leader there. He's obviously a captain on the special teams. Gets those guys lined up, and it's a good group.
Reflect specifically on the character arc of Dewey in particular, from maybe how he was perceived outside of the building, but also within the building a year ago to where he is now being voted a captain? I
think it speaks volumes. For him personally, he's been with this team through the early days and not so good days, and now to being a captain. I mean, it just shows his growth and his maturity and where he's come as a player, with this team. And it's, you see it every year. There's always those one or two guys that just sort of emerge as leaders, and whether they're voted captains or not, they're still great men and great leaders of your football team. And Dewey obviously has done some really good things to be in this position. He's worked hard, and he's excited. He's excited for himself. He's excited for our team, for this season, and I'm excited for him as a captain of our team.
Doug, you always want your linebackers, obviously, to have a good game and all that, but do they have to be? How much more do they have to be on point in a game where you've got an RPO threat like Anthony Richardson?
I mean, it takes a lot of discipline, your eye discipline, and it's almost it's reactionary, obviously, but at the same time, you got to be patient, it just comes down to the film study and understanding how your opponent's trying to attack you, and I do believe that linebackers, in general, who face RPO type teams, it's tough. It's tough because they can't be right, and they go that way, we're going to throw it right behind you. If you stay back there, we're going to hand the ball. It's a tough duty, but it's a great opportunity for them, for our guys, and we're going to see it. We're going to see it all season from these first few teams anyway.
So much unknown last year, Doug. Is there anything that you don't know about this team, or you want to find out about this team, or need to find out about this team, or even concern about this team?
Well, I want to see, we're on the road week 1, division opponent, in a dome. It's going to be a great atmosphere. It's a 1:00 game. We didn't handle the road great last year. We didn't handle this opponent on the road great last year. And they, quite frankly, they've beaten us. I think 9 out of the last 10. So we've got our work cut out for us. So the unknown is just, hey, how are we going to respond to that? And I look forward to this week of preparation, just see where the guys are from a headspace standpoint that way. And listen, you stay humble and you stay in the moment, you stay focused on us, hard work and preparation, and you go play and hopefully you come out on top.
Josh, to follow up on Mark's question, did this team meet or exceed your expectations in the offseason and in training camp, and how they came back as a team mentally with new expectations?
You know what? I was pleased. They met my expectations. I don't think they exceeded them, but they met them. I think we have a lot of football ahead of us. So if they do well, then maybe they exceed. But there's so much confidence right now in that locker room, and that's the good thing. That part is really good, and team's in a good place. They had a really good training camp. Coming out relatively healthy, heading into week 1, and again, the expectations for us are we just got to continue to prepare and focus and stay in the moment.
Does that surprise you based on how young this team still really is? But certainly,
I mean, sometimes I think you would say, yeah, it does kind of surprise you. Young football team, especially, going into your first game of the regular season, second year together, but there's a lot of maturity on this team, and we have veteran players who've played a lot of ball, and there's maturity there, and I think that's what kind of puts this team at a little different level, I guess, when it comes to that. It's just that so many young players have played a lot of football, and it's interesting because there's not a lot that really phases this group. Adversity we know is going to strike at some point, but it's always been next man up mentality, and this team doesn't seem to waver much at all with that.
Opening day has its own uncertainty, just because new coaches, new players in certain situations. How do you handle that? How do you account for that for opening day, or do you not even recognize that?
I try to stay away from it. Again, I think that's if you start talking about that, the emotions run too high anyway, and now you've built something up that sometimes isn't there. We understand now it is week 1, and the emotions are going to run high. I understand, but I don't put a lot of emphasis on that. I just try to keep these guys just in the moment, right? Today, Wednesday, focus on today. Let's get better today. Let's talk about the first and second down game plan today. Let's not worry about Sunday just yet. As we go throughout the week, yes, I will, with some of our young players, new starters, Anton Harrison, first time in the NFL starting at right tackle. His emotions are going to run high, but he's got a great guy sitting right next to him at right guard that can help handle that. So you kind of lean on the team a little bit, to help, with some of the emotions and all of that.
How about you as a coach preparing for a team with a new head coach and a new quarterback? There just seems to be some uncertainties there. Can you prepare for that, or is that just?
Yeah, you can prepare for that. And it all comes down to obviously the film study, the history of their coaches, where they've been, who they've coached, and then understanding their personnel. It's interesting because we know Gus Bradley on defense. He's been there, right? Second year, in that system and those guys and all of that, and then. It's the offensive side that might be a little different, might look a little different. Obviously, a young, ascending quarterback, so that could look a little different. But I think you can prepare just by going back and understanding the history of their coaches and where they've been and who they've coached.
Starting fast in games has been one of the goals throughout the offseason. How important is it to see that materialize out on the field this week?
Yeah, we talk a lot about that, starts with the opening kickoff, right? Whether it's kickoff or kick cover or kick return. And, making a play. Don't go chasing plays, but make the plays that come to you. And just, it comes down to just execution and focus on the game plan. And, again, stay within the moment. But you strive on, trying to get early scores if you can, early stops on defense if you can. Yeah, you would love to play, with a lead most of the game, but, sometimes that doesn't happen. But we emphasize it a lot, and, it's just a matter of execution.
Is that a mindset thing? Can that be going in that you have to have that killer instinct to go in and get ahead and play with the lead like that?
It's something we definitely, address and talk about. A 60-minute game is a long game, and there's a lot of plays in a football game, and, sometimes the way you start is not the way you finish, in a football game, but you definitely want to start fast and finish faster, I think. Our guys do understand that, and those are things that we continue to talk about, all season long, really.
Doug, what did go wrong? What do you remember from that game in Indy last year?
I thought that, you look at it defensively, there were some third downs we just didn't get off the field, especially late in the game. Those are things that we try to you try to focus on, and definitely when you get in third down situations, you try to get off the field, force a punt. We didn't do that well enough in that game last year. Offensively, I thought the first half, we looking back on it, we take the opening drive, and I think Trevor took a sack. He knocked us out of field goal range early in that football game. There's 3 points there. The way we started the second half, there was some explosive plays, but then there was a couple of drives in there we didn't execute very well. And those are just, again, they did a nice job of just keeping everything in front and forcing tackles, getting the guys on the ground. But, we just got to execute better, really, in all three phases.
If memory serves me, they really took a lot of the stuff underneath, a lot of dinking and dunking. How do you rectify that if they come with that game plan this week?
Yeah, that was obviously it's a different offense, but that was something they did. Got the ball out of Matt Ryan at the time. It was his hands, and they got the ball out quickly and sort of stymied the pass rush that way. And again, this is a totally different team, totally different game plan. And we got to be prepared for all of that again. Especially with a young quarterback, I'm sure try to get some easy completions early, try to get in a rhythm, use his legs. So and even possibly a gadget type play, early. So those are all things that, we have to be ready for.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks,
Doug.
Doug.
Thank you.
Thank you.